Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. So, as I said during my top 10 films based on a stage musical and several of my other blogs, I've been performing on stage ever since elementary school choir during December 2000. And while I am happy to give smiles to all my audiences, at the same time, I kind of feel a bit of parental pressure. If you don't know what I mean, sometimes when I'm about to do an audition, my parents usually force me to try out for a certain role that I don't want to do. And those attempts sometimes have me end up in embarrassment. If only there was some way for them to just leave me alone and let me go for whatever role I'd like. Anyway, on the topic of theater, did you know that Princess Sofia ended her second season with a children's theater episode? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. Airing on television on July 22nd, 2015, this is Sidekick Clio. Now, on for the plot of the episode. While Princess Hildegard is away on vacation, Princess Clio helps Sofia practice for the upcoming school musical auditions. When Sofia recognizes Clio's own talents, she encourages her to audition too. But when Hildegard returns early due to a warm spell in North Friesenberg, Clio struggles to stay outside of her shadow again. Now, what are my thoughts on this episode? Well, to me, this was a very outstanding episode to end Season 2. And to further explain why I love it, let's move on to Mustang Notes. Now, the moral of this episode is, friends are more important than always having things your way. Also, this episode was inspired by the writer Erica Rothschild's own child, whom was a victim of being bullied. As for the animation, well, I still think Toei on CGI is awesome, and in my eyes, Royal Preps Theater looks very grand. And since this episode is Sofia's first and only time visiting Clio's kingdom in Corinthia, I think her palace is very reminiscent to classic Greek architecture, such as the Ionic columns. Also, I like that the episode's plot centers around school children's theater. And I find it pretty cute that Royal Prep's show, Hello Polly, a musical about a parrot searching for her runaway sister, is a pun on Hello Dolly. And if you may recall, I blogged this 1969 musical movie back in 2020. And in 2016, I blogged Pixar's WALL-E, which features two classic songs from the show. Also, I must mention that I'm feeling very happy that me and my musical theater village friends are performing Hello Dolly again after 6 years. Also to note, some of the costumes in this episode are reused from previous episodes, like Princess Butterfly and Forza Crowd. Also, I must mention that this episode features two songs, both sung by Princess Clio. First is the audition song, My First Flight, and there's Wings of a Dream, sung at the episode's finale. To me, both of these songs are absolutely amazing to listen to, and to me, they kind of feel like songs that Alan Menken would compose. Plus, I think Jenna Lee Rosen, who provides Clio's singing voice, does a beautiful performance. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors. Princess Sofia is voiced by Ariel Winter, whom was young Kairi in the Kingdom Hearts game series, Marina in Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Marlene in the complete version of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Penny Peterson in DreamWorks' Mr. Peabody and Sherman, young Trixie in Speed Racer, and Smurf Lily in Smurfs the Lost Village. In my eyes, Sofia makes a wonderful supporting character in this episode, like when she encourages Clio to try out for the school play, which kind of reminds me of what I did for a couple of my friends, like Igor and Steven, before they joined Musical Theater Village. Also, I thought the part where Sofia sang the Itsy Bitsy Spider song was pretty cute. Our main character, Princess Clio, is voiced by Harley Graham, whom was in several shows like iCarly, Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, Grey's Anatomy, and she was a Viking child in the MCU's Thor movie. Now, in my opinion, Clio gets a lot of character development in this episode. Clio loves stage musicals, but because of her friendship with Hildegard, Clio does everything that Hildegard wants or approves of. For example, Clio often helps Hildegard with her homework and setting up tea parties. But in the end, due to her being fed up with being bossed around, Clio finally stands her ground and tells Hildegard off that she'll be auditioning for the school play because it was something that she wanted to do. Next is Princess Hildegard, voiced by Coco Grayson, whom I only remember from the 90210 series. Now, I find Hildegard to be pretty similar to her friend Amber, in that she tends to be a snobbish and a self-centered brat. Plus, Hildy is very boastful, controlling, and she doesn't let Clio do anything that she likes unless it's something that she approves of or they do it together. However, after watching Clio on stage, Hildegard realizes her selfish behavior, and I'm glad that she and Clio made amends after the show. Next is Sofia's sister, Princess Amber, voiced by Darcy Rose Byrnes, whom was in Desperate Housewives, Big Shot, The Legend of Korra, and Spirit Riding Free. To me, while Amber's role in this episode doesn't really add much, I like that she has a decent maternal role, like during the part where she tells Hildegard that friends are more important than selfish desires, which was a lesson that she learned from Princess Rapunzel during the Curse of Princess Ivy special. Also to note, Amber has been put in charge of costumes, and I like that she's learned how to sew in this episode, maybe due to the fact that Sofia promised to teach her after the Princess Butterfly episode. Next we come to Sofia's brother, Prince James, and Cedric the Sorcerer, voiced by Tyler Myrna and Jess Harnell. James has been put in charge of stage effects, and Cedric has been assigned to help him by order of his dad, King Roland. However, I feel like Cedric sticks out more than James does. While he did start out annoyed, he quickly warms up to the idea of using his magic as stage effects when the other children proclaim his magic as the best they've ever seen. But there were a couple moments where Cedric's magic went overboard, like when he conjures up a jungle and monkeys on stage. Another character to talk about is Miss Elodie, the Royal Prep theater teacher, voiced by Tanya Gunati. And I have to admit, next to Clover and Duchess Matilda, Miss Elodie is another one of my favorite characters in Sofia's TV show. One of the reasons why I like her is due to her flamboyant personality, her colorful clothing, and I like that she speaks in a vivid expression. Plus, she's passionate and persuasive, and she prefers having everything done on her lists. During the events of this episode, after hearing Princess Clio sing with Sofia, Miss Elodie insists that she tries out for Hello Polly, and after Clio's audition, Miss Elodie gives her the lead as Polly. Also, Miss Elodie is the only person who's not very impressed with Cedric's magic, and she became annoyed by the sorcerer's monkey business. But thankfully, Miss Elodie finally warms up to Cedric after he helps make the stage a smashing success. Last but not least, we come to Princess Kari, voiced by Doc McStuffins herself, Kiara Muhammad. Now, there's not too much to say about her, other than the fact that, like Clio, Kari has an excellent singing voice, and she gets the part of Polly's sister, Molly. She also loves all the magical stage effects that Cedric puts on, and she quickly becomes an admirer of his. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Sidekick Clio was such a wonderful episode to end Princess Sofia's second season. The animation is really amazing as usual. Several moments brought back memories from previous episodes. Plus, Clio is a great main character due to her going through pressure of being in a toxic friendship with Hildegard. Still, I'm glad that Clio was able to do something that she's always wanted to do. Sofia and Amber were sweet supporting characters. Miss Elodie was a wonderful new character to the show. And while she was mostly a boastful, snobbish, and a self-centered brat, I like that Hildegard decides to become a better person and a nicer friend after reconciling with Clio. Also, the The 2 songs featured in this episode were wonderful to listen to, and the plot, which centered on theater and friendships, was very interesting and relatable. And so, I give this episode a full 100%. Now, before I go, I would like to let all my viewers know that Hello Dolly will be performing at Musical Theater Village from April 8th to May 8th, 2022. And I'll be playing the roles of Ambrose Kemper and waiter number 8, aka Hank. So, if you'd like to see the show, go to this website listed here for ticket information. Anyway, that's all for now. Join me on Sibling Day, where we look at the Season 2 opening episode, which is set on Amber and James's birthday. Mustang Power.
Relic rehearsals, opening nights, strike up the band, bring out the lights.